everybody. It must be Monday, the first Monday in May for the Maw of Mike, or as I like to call it, because there's a lot of M's this month. We got me, we got Mike, we got Monday. So here we are back for another, can you believe it, the 7th episode of Maw of Mike's. We started this whole little thing to keep the fans of Dungeon Crawl Classics informed about what's going on behind the scenes. And if you haven't tweeted to it yet, my name is Michael Curtis. I am the Director of Product Development for Goodman Games here in our little Twitch channel. So yes, that is correct. The Maw of Mike is Mom. That's it. I said years ago, I saw a great punk band in Vassar College called My Mom, and all their stuff was plastered with bumper stickers that said, "I love my mom." And I said, that's pretty much the greatest bit of advertising I could ever think of for a punk band. So I also saw a small child be hurled across the in the air because they opened for Rollins band, and you shouldn't be a small child at a Rollins show. But I digress. So here we are. May 8th is Mother's Day. We should have rescheduled this, but we did not. So you're stuck with me here because it is the first Monday of the month, and this is when we talk about Dungeon Crawl Classics and assorted stuff. But you actually will probably not have to listen to me as much tonight, because I think we're going to actually end up with a truncated show, and that's actually a good thing. Because we don't have anything officially on the release schedule from Goodman Games for May, which is a good sign of two things. First of all, it means that the log jam that I've been hitting with a stick for the last 7 months has finally broken, and things are flowing through as normal. So which means we're actually on a somewhat decent production schedule again. And that means, why do we have nothing in May if we're on a really good production schedule? It means next month is June, and that means Free RPG Day, which is followed immediately by July, which means DCC Day, which is followed by August, which means Gen Con, which means we've got a lot of stuff in the pipe, and we can't all drop it in May. So it is coming. I will talk some more about that at the top end of the show, and let's just say the June and July episodes of Maw of Mike are probably going to be very, very busy. I'll be having some people coming in, but those of you, for example, who have been backed the Dying Earth Kickstarter, I believe you all got a little surprise in your backers kit or your email not too long ago, and you can see that. Well, remember that logjam I was talking about? Well, Dying Earth. I think you, if you took the time, you've had a sneak peek at Dying Earth, and things are really close to going out the door and off to the printer, and eventually through that whole process where it will show up in your mailbox at some point. If you saw the PDFs, we basically have most of the box set put together. We're just waiting on some additional little bit of art and some fine tuning, some last things, mostly because we've said, hey, you guys catch anything? Sure, please let us know. We'll fix it before it goes to the printer. And we actually just got the last of the adventures, the last of the modules. We have the edits in for that, so they're going into final layout. Well, we're going into layout, and then we're going to add the rest of the stuff. And that, of course, was Errol Otis's adventure, House on the Island, which we've been waiting for, because Errol's doing the art for that. So we're waiting on Errol, and everything is looking good. So that stuff is all working along. So yeah. But that's I have some more updates coming in a little bit, but I just want to get you guys know, don't cook anything that's going to take an hour, because we're going to be getting a little bit early. So you got about 45 minutes. All right. I'm going to take a break and bring in my first guest. So stay right there, and I'll be back momentarily. Okay. Hello, everybody. I am back, and I am joined by someone you probably all know who is with me. It is Jen Brinkman. Hi, Jen.
Hello, Mike. How are you?
Welcome to the show for the first time.
Yeah. No fanfare, no confetti. I don't know, man.
We don't have the budget. That's it.
Don't I know it?
So it's just and out of the things that I mentioned, we've got a lot of stuff kind of in the pipeline starting in June. We're talking a lot of product, but we've got something going on between now and then, a little something that we like to call various Cyclops cons. So in your role, and Jen, please remind the viewing audience what your new role is, because I mean you've got about 8 or 9 kind of Goodman games and DCC related titles, but one of them is like actually official now with like like you've got to show up for work on time type stuff. Right?
The new business card says convention and customer service manager.
Okay.
So that encompasses everything from the in-person cons to the online stuff, which is a lot more hands-on when we have like all of the gather town space and the vendors and the dealers hall and all that. I'm also involved with the road crew situation and the customers that need escalation services. Yeah, all of the really fun stuff behind the scenes. This Cyclops Con is going to be a little bit different from our regular, what everybody has come to expect from Goodman Games as the regular Cyclops Con. The Gather Town experience will be limited to Saturday night, unfortunately. But that is particularly because the boss said, we've got all these in-person cons now that we're spending all this time and energy on. So
right. And actually, let's before we get too deep into Cyclops Con, because last month we had kind of the Gary Con recap show, and so we Brendan was on, and we talked a lot about everybody's experience with Gary Con, and this was your first Gary Con in the new role and everything. We didn't get a chance to have you come on and talk about what that was like. So like Brendan and I got to we just ran games and stuff, and we couldn't get pie, and it was quite traumatizing. But we had it kind of easy compared to what you had to do. So how was your Gary Con? I saw you and Bob on Thursday night, and then like I saw you Sunday. And I was like, I feel like that was about it.
Oh, that's right. We did have dinner. It was like a month ago, Mike. I don't remember that far back. No, it was. I mean, the minute boots are on the ground, it's that exhilarating feeling, right? Not having the entire booth as Goodman Games. I mean, it was kind of a shared space with Black Blade Publishing and all that, which was awesome and really nice to have the extra hands behind the booth and with setup and everything. And John Hirschberger was ever so gracious in taking me under his wing and walking me through every single step that I might encounter in person in that role. And now I have to take what I've learned in the past month or two, and I'm getting booted out of the nest. It's flap or die time. So I'm going to be flapping my little wings, and we're hitting MomoCon first. Will be my first in-person Jen at the Helm con.
That is that Alabama, or is that?
It is Atlanta. It's Atlanta over
Atlanta.
Memorial Day
Right.
weekend.
Because I know about most of the cons through hanging out with Brendan all these years, and Brendan is always like rattling off, I got this con. The exception, of course, is Mepicon, which is perpetually, apparently, in my opinion, is always going on, because every time I talk, because I think they had it like twice a year, so every time I saw Brendan, I'd be like, "What's your next con?" Like Mepicon. It's like didn't you already do Mepicon? Yeah. I was like, I'm doing it again.
Momo's another one that's near and dear to him, since it's basically in his backyard. And our beloved little Brendan is a guest of honor at that one, so everyone needs to go and make him sign all the things.
So we're gonna have like the whole booth there and everything, right? Where it
won't be the full sized like Gen Con booth there. We don't have that kind of space, and we didn't have that much advance notice for this one. But it'll be a modest size booth, pretty similar to Gary Con and the ones that are showing up in, the Lexington, Kentucky areas and Northern California, the ones that John Wilson's running.
Right.
So it'll still be a full booth. It just won't be, the big, huge thing with, the ziggurat.
Right. But but it will be the perfect place that if if you go there and you say forget your funky dice, or or if say somebody gets introduced to DCC at the convention and suddenly wants to buy the rule book and start running it for people, which I believe happened at GaryCon. Was it?
It will be exactly what everybody needs for that particular con. Yes.
Okay. So good. I mean, yeah. But as you were mentioning, is that because we finally have all this, like we're no longer chained to, as he says, as he's standing in the middle of a Zoom section, we're no longer chained to our computers, so we can actually go out and like socialize again. So the online convention is opening up. So obviously that does kind of impact the online thing as well, because like where we used to be able to prep for, like, was it like last year we did two Cyclops cons and then like DCC Day, and I think there was like one other, like we had like,
Dungeon Con.
yeah, right. So yeah, so it was kind of like that's where all the energy was, and now it's just like, well, we've got Romance of the Cyclops Con and then 12 other cons during the course of the year, so obviously something had to go a little bit. So I understand kind of what Joe's thought process of that is, I mean, and from what I saw at GaryCon, everybody was just so happy to see people like in the, I swear Jeff Goad got taller since I saw him last time. I mean, in this, because the other
Yes.
option is I'm shrinking and I'm not ready for that yet. I mean, it's, but it was so
Yeah.
many people that I've been over the last 2 years, I've been running a lot of games and stuff, like, you see them through Zoom screen, and then you see them in real life, they're either taller or shorter than you imagine them.
Yeah, a lot of people were approaching the booth like this, and you're bigger than I thought.
we needed Doug's screen from Doug Con from a couple of years ago, where he was doing a Punjar, I think it was Punjar 40,000, where everybody was doing occasionally break in with a broadcast. So he had just had the TV screen.
Yes,
No.
that would have been brilliant.
Great Babe had a question. Can DCC hit a con in every state?
Please no. I mean, not all in one year.
No.
Does that?
No, we have to grow a little bit bigger, and I think certain cons there would be fighting over, like Hawaii Con, or
Luckily, it's on my business
suddenly
card.
everybody's trying to do Hawaii Con, So.
Screw you guys. That's my title.
So, all right. So this is Romance of the Cyclops Con, which, as you might have guessed, originally we were kind of planning for February, but that wasn't Joe and I. I think we were talking at one point, because originally we wanted to debut this year's. We did the Halloween adventure this year, and we're like, oh, we'll tie it into Romance of Cyclops Con, but then things change. So
Yeah.
we're getting Romance like three months behind. So
It's also in a space that doesn't directly conflict with like GaryCon, because if it was the week before GaryCon, no.
Right. That's
just no.
It's one of those things. It was like, there are certain months out of the year. I think so. I think Romance was originally planned because it was February, and there wasn't anything quite going on February, except we did. I think it was I think DunderCon might have been late January or early February. So I think that might have actually impacted, but I don't recall. But I do know that, for example, we don't do anything in March except for GaryCon. And, right now is it's May. So this is like after May, it's like the big ones start, then we have Origins, and then, of course, Gen Con right after that. And then there's a little bit of break, for most sane people. And
there's about 2.5 months before Game Hall, and then maybe 5 or 6 weeks after that is PAX Unplugged.
Right.
Which we will also have the booth at.
I remember before
the booth.
Right. I remember before Game Hall became a thing, it was so nice because when I got home from Gen Con, it was like I could put the suitcase away in the closet, because I know I wasn't going anywhere until like March. But then like Game Hall was like, and then you just start relaxing, like, oh, time to go to Game Hall, so, but I mean, it's a great con and everything, but how soon we have to start planning for Gen Con every year, it's like
Yeah.
we're we're still digesting Christmas meal, and suddenly the emails start showing up like, guys, guess what? Time to start thinking about August of next year. So um so
Quite.
so figure out what games you want to run 8 months from now and submit them, please. I haven't even written that yet. So
Oh, yeah.
um
So speaking of, yeah, there's this online con for things that we might need to write. Those of us both present in the window and in the chat.
yeah, so
So
yeah,
yeah, if you're running for Romance of the Cyclops Con, please be sure to get your stuff together, contact all your players, etc. Um, in fact, while I'm here, if you don't mind, Mike, I'd like to put something out to the core group that I see a lot of the familiar names in our chat.
me
Um,
ma as your ma.
if any of our viewers are planning on attending Origins and would like to maybe take a turn stepping behind the booth and seeing how some of the stuff works behind the scenes, drop me a line, jen@goodman-games.com. And, maybe we can make something work. We don't ask for slave labor. No, 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 no. There's actually compensation.
We're long past the time where you'd have to pay to come work at the Goodman booth. That was
A couple of years at least, yeah.
come help whitewash our fence. That's it,
Yeah, yeah, lift that barge, tote that bale, yeah.
yeah. No, but it's it actually but I think we're not actually for free labor, but if you're going to be at Origins, and you've got time on your hands, you want to come by and we're also,
Exactly.
oh yeah, we're also, is there how, because I don't think it'll become a surprise to everybody, but we also have the tournament planned for Gen Con this year. Are we full up on tournament judges, or do we still kind of, if you were interested in running a tournament, there's still time to get involved in that? Or
There are definitely some holes in the schedule there. There does seem to be some miscommunication or misreading, I should say. Some of the people writing in are like, hey, so I get a badge if I run a game? And I'm like, yes, but it has to be a total of 4 games that you run under the Goodman Games banner to get a free GM badge.
Okay.
And from that, you run those 4 games, we'll also kick in a housing credit. If 2 of your 4 games are part of the tournament, then we will double that credit for you. And that's paid after the fact via like direct payment, but we do it after the show to make sure you actually show up.
So if you like killing characters,
it is a funnel tournament that we need the help with.
It sounds like you want to be a tournament judge. So something to keep that in mind if you're planning on doing Gen Con this year. No, I suppose we would probably want people who are mostly certain they're going to be doing Gen Con. Especially for like a tournament judge, we don't want to I'm thinking about doing Gen Con, and if I go there, I'll be a judge, because we kind of, it's a little bit more of a we want to know basically how many slots we have filled, so.
Right. It will be primarily Thursday and Friday. It's only Thursday and Friday that we're looking for help on, actually. There's 5 waves between those 2 days, and then you could just hang out and play games for the other 2 days. So if you want to make plan a trip around it, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
I don't even remember what it's like to play a gaming convention.
That's only because you go to sleep too early on Sundays, Mike.
All right, so we've got Romance, and remind the people at home what dates those are, if they have not already.
It is Friday, May 13th through Sunday the 15th. So it's the weekend after Mother's Day. And Saturday, we have the Saturday night social planned in Gathertown, and we'll drop the link for that over the weekend.
Okay.
Over that weekend. I think we also get to see the Cyclops for a short amount of time Saturday night.
I'm sure the Cyclops will be making an appearance at some point. So, So the let's say so the badges are out, and basically people have signed up for events and such. So
Mhm.
is there any, do you know of anybody, is there any events we want to call out to say, hey, we want to fill
Um,
some seats or anything, or
I meant to take a look earlier, and I've been banned from Facebook, so I can't. Uh,
is that a self-imposed ban, or have you been banned?
no, I actually my Facebook account got hacked a couple days ago, so I
Oh,
haven't missed it a whole lot, but it means I need to actually uh, create a login that'll work this month if I
okay.
want to look at the DCC group.
Okay.
So
Well, if you
handicap.
so if you are planning on attending and you've not done so, I would go and check out the tabletop events and take a look at it and pick your games now before they all fill up. And
Badges are only like $5.
yeah, yeah, five, nothing. So, all right. Well,
Yeah.
all right. So, anything else we need to be aware of? I mean, you will be at you have the dates for MomoCom off the top of your head? It's like the
MomoCon starts the 26th
okay.
and runs through the 29th, which is Sunday. It's not running on Monday, so it leaves you the Monday of your holiday weekend to recover. Um, and then skipping forward, it looks like, oh, there we go, June, not July. Thursday, June 9th is the beginning of Origins, at least for those of us not under the trade day stuff. So that's going to run through the second weekend of June. And then coming up way too quick is August 3rd is the beginning of Gen Con.
Okay.
And for any of the judges who have signed up to run games through Goodman Games, I can report that everything so far has been approved and accepted and on the schedule. And I have a big, huge mailing list for everybody who has questions about their badges or whatnot. So I'm not forgetting y'all. I was on vacation last week.
All right. Well, good. So if you're sitting at home in 2 weeks, you can go to tabletop events, do the search for Romance of the Cyclops Con, get yourself set up. And if you're in or convenient to the Atlanta area at the end of this month, come see Jen at MomoCon and see Brendan and buy some dice and just hang out. Be good to see people in person again. All right.
Very, very good.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and I'm going to be back with somebody else, and we'll talk about other stuff. So, thank you very much for being on the show, Jen, and everybody else. We'll be back momentarily.
Thank you, Mike.
Hey, everybody, it's Mike, and I'm back with somebody who's just down the hall from the person who was here last time. So, everybody, welcome Mr. Bob Brinkman to the show. Bob, thank you for coming on.
Hey, everybody.
So I was mentioning to everybody is that we don't have anything officially being released in the month of May, but we do have a chance. We still want to give people the opportunity to take their money. So
Yes.
this month, in about 2 weeks, is going to be the Kickstarter for a little thing called Dark Tower.
Little.
Thing. and we actually had a kind of a Kickstarter record some video for it, and as I pointed out, this Dark Tower has nothing to do with the Robert Browning poem, the works of Stephen King, or the really awesome 80s board game. This is it. Bob, why don't you tell us what exactly Dark Tower is for those of you in the back who do not know?
Dark Tower is an adventure that was originally published by the Judges Guild back in, I want to say 1979.
79 is correct.
I think it's also the only non-TSR adventure to hit Dungeon Magazine's list of the greatest dungeons, and it really is. It's when it was originally released, it was 80 pages long. When the Steading of the Hill Giants was 8 pages, so it gives you an idea of just how massive this thing is. Janelle Jaquays pulled out all the stops. There's so much stuff in there that it's really a campaign more than just an adventure, and there's a lot in that adventure that people have built on moving forward, techniques and things of that nature.
Yeah, it was it's not what I mean, it's not a mega dungeon in the sense of like, Gary Gygax's, like, Castle Greyhawk was a mega dungeon and everything. It's not, like it's not like a 10th level, thing with everything takes up like a, like a 8.5 by 11-inch, sheet of graph paper, but there's a lot. There's a lot in that.
Yeah, to put it into perspective, since I did the conversion for Crypt of the Devil Lich, the first dungeon level of Dark Tower has more rooms than Crypt of the Devil Lich in total. It's really great. And I see the question: how many of the rooms of Dark Tower are empty? None of them. There is so much going on. I mean, you have a village. There's 4 levels of dungeon. There's 2 towers. Then there's surrounding areas. It's really big. It like I said, it's either a campaign or a campaign setting with really the size it is.
Right. And it's very funny. It's good to bring up the question of like the empty rooms, where you can tell like Gary Gygax was very it's like 25% of the dungeon room should be empty, because it was all very much about resource management. You never know, like wandering monsters are basically there to kind of like just wear you down, so you couldn't, stay too long in the dungeon to get enough gold to level up and everything. Well, apparently Janelle was unfamiliar with that design philosophy, because it was like, it's in a lot of ways, although it predates kind of the modern game design like philosophy by 40 years. There's still like, like if you get a adventure nowadays, there's not like a lot of dead space in there. It's like every room has at least something going on, and that's very much,
every room has to justify itself.
Right. And we, as we were talking a couple hours ago, this is a we're talking, there's like 300 years of history behind the whole Dark Tower, dungeon and environs and everything like that. And that actually kind of plays out. There's not a lot of like plot expedition. Like literally it's like it's a mystery. Like you show up and you don't know what's going on, and everybody's kind of very secretive. So you don't really get the, hi, I'm Mr. I have 3 pages of read aloud text to give you the backstory. You kind of have to piece it together literally by, descending into the dungeon and finding what's in that room and what's in the next room and all the rest of that. So,
and it's 3 volumes, right? As opposed to 2. The 3rd volume is all new companion material. It's new adventures that go along. So once you have finished the Dark Tower, which is going to take you some time, I can tell you that from my playtest group, it will take you some time. But once you finish that, there are still more adventures that all tie in together. And that's what that 3rd volume in this massive set is. And it's...
Yep. No, so the question is, Great Babe had this. So there will be 2 different 3-volume sets is basically what is going to be. One of them will be for 5th edition, and one of them will be for Dungeon Crawl Classics. It's not going to be like there's going to be a 5e book, a DCC book, and another book all in one set. So this is it's basically
it's a 3-volume set for D&D and a 3-volume set for DCC.
Right. So if you happen to play both, you're in for 6 volumes. so we're sorry about that, but as we were saying, is like, this is, we're talking like an 80-page adventure to begin with. And I think we were talking about, like, originally when we set out to do the conversion, was just how bad it's going to be. I mean, like, this is the reprint that Goodman put out a little while ago. I mean, it's it's a perfect bound book and everything like that. You think, hey, sure, it's going to be a little bit longer, but no.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, so because we've kind of been tracking this now that we did Devil Lich, and we've done that's like that was like our first real compare 5e to DCC and see how things worked out. And as most people could probably expect, Devil Lich, the DCC version, actually has a less page count than the 5e version of it, because there's certain things that you have to do, like a stat block in 5e, although it's not like a 3.5 area stat block, they still tend to be longer than like a DCC stat block. So you figure, all right, so the DCC version would be smaller than that. And we thought that was going to be the case for Dark Tower.
Sorry about that, Chief.
But it turns out that the DCC version conversion is actually bigger than the 5e version of it.
Start adding new spells and things get bigger real quick. And, plus there's so much content that when converted really doesn't get a whole lot smaller. Yeah, there's plenty of monsters in there, but and one of the things that we're able to do with the DCC version is the 5e version. All of the stat blocks are in the back of the book. There's the encounter, you turn to the back of the book, and there's your stat block. But since DCC stat blocks are smaller, we can put them with the encounters. So that really helps, and sometimes that means multiples show up, but it makes for a much easier experience if you want to run it. And you want to run this. Trust me, I've had a blast running this.
And the other thing is, you know, we're in the 5e version, because this was, I mean, the original was written for AD&D, and as we were talking about, this was written not too long after the original Monster Manual came out. So it's really easy to say, you know, like, are there, you know, there are 8 were-rats, and then, you know, you can have like the really basic were-rat description, and the judge, like the DM, always knows that, oh, if I need more information, I just pull my Monster Manual out and I have the whole write-up for were-rats. We don't have that advantage for DCC. There's like, so because we don't go by the standard, you know, the standard monster thing. So if we need a were-rat description, it's basically Bob's job to come up with a were-rat description. We put it in the adventure, so we have to include that.
Oh yeah. And so this is the second massive conversion project I've been given that has included a monk. So I cheated this time. I haven't been allowed to make a monk class, but oh boy, there's a NPC in there that is definitely a monk, and you'll see it when you see it.
So there's a couple of questions, and I think this has been addressed before, but this is an OAR book. This is you know, the original Adventures Reincarnated number 7, I believe. Yeah. So but this one is different from the other other books. This one is we're doing this because we own the rights to Dark Tower, to a deal with Janelle. So it's basically under different parameters than our agreement with Wizards. So there will be PDF for this. This is why we're converting this one over to DCC, because we can do that. So there will be a PDF for this version of it. There is VTT plan support. So yeah, so this one, which is also one of the reasons why we're kickstarting it as well. This will be the
Keep in mind the PDF's going to weigh 8 pounds.
Yeah. So yeah, so that stuff is going to be out. You know, it's stuff we would love to do with like the entire OAR line, but it was just, you know, there are certain agreements that I had no part in doing, and I don't even know all the details of it, you know. So yeah, so this is the advantage of sometimes working with different adventures. So, you know, we haven't done one with Janelle, and this one is a classic. As Bob mentioned, it's like, I think Dungeon Magazine, I think, listed like the 30 greatest adventure modules of all time, and this was the only one on there which wasn't made by TSR. And I'm pretty sure it was in the top 10. Yeah, right, it was up there. Yeah. So yeah, so if you've never played Dark Tower, you know, if this is a great opportunity for it. If you've never read it, and if you're a judge or a dungeon master or anything like that, this well, not this version, although this one will be, this version will be, that's going to be one of the 3 books. So it'll basically be the original kind of version here, and then there's going to be, you know, essays and introduction, and, you know, talk about all the rest of that stuff. But if you've never read it in any form, you really should. Especially if you want to learn to do good dungeon design.
Well, and it's just amazing how well Dark Tower fits DCC. It harkens back to Appendix N. It was inspired by the Conan story Red Nails, and the feel of it is very different. There are characters, there are NPCs that you could definitely consider Gonzo, right? There is a frost giant who has been polymorphed into this bizarre broom-wielding statue dressed in bright colors who wants your belt. Really, the playtest groups have had no idea what to do other than panic. It really does. There's so much old school goodness, and that's what DCC is all about, right? Is, you know, party like 1974. So this is what it feels like, and it converts so nicely. I started the conversion before I had the 5e manuscript. So I literally started converting from the original. And when I got the manuscript, I looked, I'm like, yeah, this doesn't change how I was doing things.
It was really nice to go back and reread it after not looking at it for quite some time. And I mean, because DCC has kind of become its own thing, but obviously it does have roots in kind of the OSR and stuff, and the original like what the adventures were. And as we were talking about, there's earlier today when we had the video recording, for example, there is a monster here which is a metallic spider. and I was reading the description of the metallic spider, and it's just, this is a spider, it is made of metal, and then that's all the deal they make out of it. It's like there's no explanation why it's a metal spider. There's no special rules why, there's, because if you did this in like 5e, it would be a construct, it would have vulnerability to this and resistance to this and be immune from that and everything. Nah, it's just a spider made out of metal. It's like, and so the led up to the game master is like, does sleep spells work on a metal spider? I guess there's only one way to find out. And
right,
one game master might be sure, the other one might be no, so and that's always kind of been that's always been like the through line of DCC. It's just like rulings, not rules, so
yeah. The playtests have hammered a lot of points home. For example, D&D players, they laugh, they scoff at, well, we're going to go down into a basement and kill giant rats. Let me tell you, DCC giant rats will chew your party alive, as one of my playtest groups discovered with the near TPK. And yeah, there's a lot of creatures in there that didn't exist in DCC before. We have were rats, a were bear, a were Jekyll. There's all sorts of cool new monsters. There's cool new spells, and the oldest of old school play.
A non-zero chance set himself might show up. I mean,
yes, that is a non-zero chance. It's not a big chance, but it's a chance, and well, that could be bad. Just saying.
Here's a question. Because again, reading through this and everything, I was just like, wow, yeah. So in one place there's a diamond statue, and they give the gold piece value of the diamond statue, and it is 3 million gold pieces. So can you confirm or deny the 3 million?
I can confirm the statue exists, but I can also confirm you probably should have read further. There are traps in here that would make Grimtooth wince. There really are. There's some beautiful traps in here, and again, there's so many people and characters to interact with. There's I think with the DCC version, between the original and the expanded material, there's just shy of 100 NPCs, and these are all people that you can interact with. Yes, some of them you might just want to walk up on and start stabbing, because like you do, but you can talk to all of these characters. They have motivations, they have reasons, they have goals, and how you interact with them will make a difference in the long run. You can piss off an entire village. And so you can have a bunch of 0 level gong farmers chasing you.
Yeah,
it could be someone's funnel.
As kind of pointed out, is that reading Dark Tower again, it reminds me, it's like the bizarro world version of the Village of Hamlet. Because everybody who knows like Village of Hamlet, like they detail the entire village and who lives where and like where they got money stashed and all the rest of that stuff. It's like that as well, but it's there's more than meets the eye. There's a lot of stuff going on in the little town of Pinterest Face. So,
well, and with the expanded material, there's the entire Forgotten Lands around it. So there's information on other towns and villages. There's more tombs and crypts located out in the desert. There's a lot of ways to die in the Dark Tower. A lot of ways.
Chris Doyle and I coined the term while we were talking about this, the Janella-verse. So it's because we've got the original Dark Tower, we've got the Sons of Set trilogy, and we're basically kind of like building up this small little semi-campaign setting through the course of it. So
well, between that and I think was it Free RPG Day or DCC Day last year, that we had the Dark Tower based adventure. So
It was
yeah, there's already
a
4 spin-off adventures.
right. So it was last year's free 5e free RPG day one, and that was one of the things. Like, well, we got to convert that to DCC, so or should I say, you got to convert that to DCC?
Yeah, I got that email. Hey Bob, I know you're gonna say no, but I wanted to give you a chance. Do you want to convert Dark Tower? And I was excited. But to be fair, I'd never read Dark Tower. And so I had no idea how big it was. But I don't regret it. I don't regret it. It's an honor to work on something like that. But
So,
wow.
so yeah. So this will be going live in probably about 2 weeks. I would expect just probably right after Romance of the Cyclops Con, and for the first 40, I don't, because we just announced a day. I think for the first 24 or 48 hours, everybody who backs it, yeah, will be getting they will get an exclusive art print featuring new work by Janelle, and if you're one of the first 100 backers, you will get a signed copy of that. So I think so you can go and sign up for Be Warned or announced or told when this thing goes live. So so any last thoughts to say about Dark Tower for we close up shop?
I suppose my closing thought is I cannot oversell how cool this adventure is. In the playtest that I ran for the first level, I had 6 different groups. They all started in the exact same place, and they all had wholly different experiences and went to different locations in their first session. There's just so much meat to this. It's gobsmacking.
It is definitely a great adventure, and you will not be sorry if you get involved in this, no matter which version of the whether you play the original Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, whether you play 5e or if you play DCC. There's something in this thing for you. So all right, that's it. I'll be back in just a few, and we'll wrap things up. And so Bob, thank you very much for being on and talking Dark Tower. All right.
My pleasure.
Hi, everybody. I am back. And as I said at the top of the hour, basically there's going to be a little short show this time around because, as I mentioned, we don't have anything on the schedule DCC related for the month of May because we've got a lot coming up for the months afterwards. So just a couple of updates on some things. I mentioned that if you are a Dying Earth backer, you should have at least gotten the opportunity to look at the PDFs for the box set, which were sent out. And thank you very much for going on. Any word on the 2021 yearbook? The standing thing of the Maw of Mike is when Mike has stuff to report, Mike will report it. So let's just say it has not been forgotten, but remember that log jam I've been talking about for the 7 months, and things are just kind of flowing now. So it will be out before 2023. I promise you that much. So that's all I can say about it right now. But so Dying Earth is heading toward the printer, as is Crypt of the Devil Lich. So basically we've got poor Matt, our layout, art director and everything like that. He get hits from all sides, and he is working hard to get everything out. And so do not worry. Kickstarters which have been concluded are in order of appearance are getting closer and closer going out the door. And speaking of that, DCC 100 is we're actually we've got most everything assembled for that, textual wise. We've got a team of about 5 people working on the stretch goals. We have the alternate theophage cults, and I've seen them, and some of them are rather nasty. So you have no one to blame but yourselves for getting us that high. And getting that much money and bringing those upon yourself. So and we're going to have a lot of a lot of player handouts for that. So the artists are kind of slowly putting those stuff together. So that is in fact I think there should be an update coming for that in maybe about a week or 2. I don't exactly know when, but we will be showing off some of what the artists have done with those handouts and the interior art and stuff, so you can check it out and basically say that we ain't lying. This stuff is moving forward. In also coming up this month if you are a fan of old school Dungeon Crawl Classics, and I'm talking about the 3.5 era, or if you want to see kind of where DCC has come from, there is going to be a bundle of holding coming this month. And that is going to be a bundle of holding, which includes 56 Dungeon Crawl Classics products in PDF form. That involves basically 51 standalone adventures written by such people as Mike Merles, Monty Cook. This guy, I think he's got a good future. Harley Stroh, he's probably be able to think. Another guy, Brendan LaSalle, you might have heard of, Chris Doyle, and more. So they're going to be coming. Those will be going to be coming out in a little while. There will also be a certain thing amongst there called the Gazetteer of the Known Realms and Castle White Rock. So if you have not already had those and you are interested to see some of that, the bundle holding is basically the perfect chance to get that. So that will be coming out in this month. I don't have the exact date on when that is. Bundle holding stuff is kind of outside my bailiwick, but I'm just here to report that this will be going out. Any chance of 3.5 Haunted Lighthouse will be in that bundle holding? No. There is no chance it's going to be that bundle holding because, to be honest, I don't even think that we have a copy of 3.5 in a PDF. so I think that was a one and done print run. So if you want that, you're going to have to either, find somebody who's going to be selling it. And I don't think there was that many printed. I think 4 would be. I think it's slightly more than 4, but I can tell you that it's. I would love to see it, but like I said, I don't think we have the manuscript anymore. And it was Dave Arneson, so I don't even know if we have the right to reprint it. So so yeah. So as a sneak up, next month and the month after that, expect a jam-packed Maw of Mike, because next month, of course, is Free RPG Day, and we were going to have 2 adventures available. One is going to be our free RPG release, a little thing called Danger in the Air, written by some knucklehead named Michael Curtis. So it's good to be back. It is a 0-level funnel, so it features your typical Michael Curtis weirdness, but there we have a QRC directly in it that leads you right to the purple saucer 0-level creator. So basically, if you want to run it, you basically say, here, you guys download, you guys make up 4 0-level characters. I'll read this adventure and then I'll run it. And then also you probably have seen, because we announced the pre-order is up, DCC 101, The Veiled Vaults of the Onyx Queen, written by Marzio Muscadere, is coming out next month as well. And that is an awesome kind of Clark Ashton Smith, Robert E. Howard, Lovecraftian. That's actually also another funnel, but that's what I call a reverse funnel, because you kind of start in the middle of madness and have to get out of the dungeon rather than go into it. So it's really cool. It's awesome. And Marzio did a great job of that as well. And then in July is DCC Day. And oh boy, I'm sorry, you should save a little bit of money because we are going to be having the DCC Day Adventure Pack, which we've done in the past. This one will have 2 adventures in it. One is a Shutter Mountain adventure called The Incident at Toad Fork, written by a guy named Brendan LaSalle. And there's going to be an MCC adventure also written by Marzio, which is called The Last Life Guardian. So you're the little MCC support, little Shutter Mountain stuff in there. There's also going to be the DCC Day number 3, written by Daniel J. Bishop, which is called Chanters in the Dark. And if you've ever wondered what might happen after Sailors of the Starless Sea, one possible solution is going to be Enchanters of the Dark. So if you want to pick things up right after the boat gets swooshed down the little subterranean river, Daniel has it covered. He also has a very interesting kind of suggestions of how to turn your 0-level PCs into 1st-level PCs by the time they get done with Enchanters of the Dark. So that's because there's always been a lot of question of like, how exactly does one level up? And my response is montage. But if you don't want to go montage, Daniel has you covered on there. So and also there is going to be, I'm not done yet. Still more stuff going on DCC Day. There's a book called The Book of Fallen Gods, which is a collection of patrons. It's basically I basically kind of came up with the idea of, those of you who are familiar with like Neil Gaiman's The Sandman, the Endless, kind of the personifications of certain powers in the multiverse. Well, this is like, what if we did DCC versions of them? So there's like Char, the black, the Black Shadow, and there's the Ogilvy, the Breaker of Hearts, and all sorts of fun stuff like that. and there will be collections of dice going along with each one of those patrons. So that, yeah, it's a big jam-packed thing. So that's it. That's why I said been banging on that log jam, and things are flowing again. So I think that's about covers it. I will be back in another month. Probably hopefully get Marzio on the show, and maybe me, and we can talk about free RPG Day stuff and dice for East Patron. Could be. We'll have to find out. So yeah, exactly. Sorry about that wallet thing, but I mean. So that's when you put the creative guy in charge for a little while, and then when suddenly I realized, hey, I can commission projects, so I did. All right, so I think that'll be about it. We actually almost did an hour, so we had a lot to talk about. So thank you everybody for tuning in, and I will be back in June with more goodness. Thank you to Bob and Jen Brickman for being on the show. Thank you for Elena for keeping things running behind the scenes as always, and everybody else. Hope to see you at Romance of the Cyclops Con, MomoCon, or Origins, or maybe even Gen Con. All right, so thank you very much. Everybody have a great night.